we are working on a project. This is something that a video I've been wanting to make for a while now, but it's really more of a how-to video. But I'm addressing an issue that I know there are a ton of people out there that are having this issue. So if you guys are a fan of Forgiato wheels, you know that they make these big face or XL face center caps with a little floating Forgiato F in the middle, and they have issues with these caps because they're extremely difficult to take off once the wheels are mounted on the car or the vehicle, right? These little prongs back here with this little clip ring, this tension ring, they are extremely difficult to take off once they've been mounted on the car. Just so you can kind of get an understanding of what the real issue is here, I'm going to show you a quick clip of two people who are trying to get around this very same issue. It'll help you really kind of fully understand where the issue lies and why I'm making this video, right? So watch this video, guys.
There we go. Go all around. Dang.
Well, at least you know they're not gonna fall off your car. Cause once it's locked in, God damn it, it's locked in.
Where's the other one? There's another one. Really. There we go.
The guys in that video, they just reached around with something and just tapped it on the backside and it popped right out, right? That's easy to do when the wheel is off. Like, anybody can do that, right? That's common sense, right? No duh. But once the wheel is mounted on the car and you can't access the back of the rim because obviously it's mounted to the hub of the vehicle, then what do you do? Especially when your suction cup doesn't work because you can't get enough of a bite on the face of the center cap, and the center cap is wedged, locked in there so tight that it just won't even budge. It won't give because this thing keeps popping off or slipping off or whatever, right? Once you snap these center caps in place and then you mount the wheel on the car, they're extremely difficult to take off. And let me just say, first of all, I fully understand. I fully understand why Forgiato created the center cap the way they created it, and I understand why they created it with so much tension that it would be difficult to pull off. Because obviously, for theft deterrent reasons, you don't want the center cap so easy that anybody could just walk up to it and just snatch it off, right? I get that. That totally makes sense. So the idea behind this suction cup is you're supposed to take the suction cup, put it on the face of the center cap, squeeze out that little arm there to lock it in, and then pull it off of the wheel. In theory, it should work. One issue I have is that, quite honestly, they should have created a suction cup that is the full width of the Forgiato glass cover here that fits over the floating F. This suction cup is just too small. This suction cup needs to be bigger. And that might very well solve all of this, and you may not even need to do this modification that I'm showing you. But if the suction cup was a bit bigger, and maybe like if you buy these wheels, maybe you go out and find a suction cup that's bigger. Maybe you do a little research. I'm pretty sure eBay or maybe Amazon probably has different sizes of suction cups like this, and you can just maybe measure the diameter of the face of the Forgiato emblem here and find you a suction cup with the exact diameter, or maybe a diameter that's just a little bit smaller than this. that may very well solve the issue, because I think that is really where this design is flawed. I think because this is so much smaller than the actual face of the center cap, you don't really get a really good bite on this thing when you lock in the suction cup. If they had one that was maybe a little bit bigger, that took up more of this empty space here, I think you would get a much better grip on the face of the center cap, and you might even have a bigger opening here so that you can maybe put 3 fingers in, or maybe 4 fingers, and really get some good leverage on this thing and pull it out, right? You also have this little pry tool. It's a plastic pry tool, which you're supposed to use to try to get in between the edge of the center cap and pry it out. And it's plastic to keep from scratching the center cap. Then you get this thing here, which is another pry tool, but this thing is metal. This is a metal tool, and to be quite honest with you, I would be very cautious about using this because it is metal, and therefore it could potentially scratch your center cap. So I don't even know if I would even use this thing, because it just seems like an accident waiting to happen. You could damage your wheel. So like I was saying, these tools here, I think in theory, these are good tools. They're well intentioned, but I just think the execution of how they put this center cap together it just does not work well with this setup. I'm going to show you what I did to make this thing a little easier to come off. Still secure, but a bit easier to come off. So let me show you. I've come up with a very simple strategy to fix the issue and to allow these center caps to come off a lot easier without as much struggle. Okay, so these center caps on the back side, just so you know kind of the anatomy of the center cap. So this is a 2-piece center cap. You've got this sort of flange piece here, and then you got this actual center piece where the floating F is, and these come apart, and they're two pieces, right? So if I just take my thumb and I push that out, you see it comes apart. So you got, like I said, here's like the outer flange, and then you've got the actual F, the floating F that fits inside the flange, right? It goes in there, and then it snaps in place. Okay, so if you look at this this piece here, so you'll look closely. There's 2 I guess ridges that allow the center cap to snap into place. There's the first ridge there, and then there's the second ridge there. So this first ridge where my fingernail is, that is the ridge that snaps the center cap, the centerpiece. It snaps it into the flange, right? The second ridge here at the top where my fingernail is, that is the ridge that snaps, that completely snaps the whole center cap assembly to the wheel. But the problem is, the reason why these things are so hard to take off of the wheel once they're snapped in place is because these I call them tension rings. These tension rings are designed to where they put, once you snap them in place, they put outward pressure or tension on these little plastic clips. See the little plastic clips, and these plastic clips, they bend in pretty easy with your hand. Now if you take this tension ring out completely and don't use it at all, then when you put this on the car, the center caps are like really easy to take off. I mean, to the point to where, like, honestly, they might even fly off the wheel at high speeds, because there's just not a whole lot of tension holding it to the rim. So you do need the tension rings. I would definitely recommend not removing the tension rings, but there's a trick. So what I did was, my fix, there's really no magic behind the fix, but what I did was I just basically just took this. So this is the original ring. This is a modified ring. So what I did was I just basically took the original rings, and then I just applied a little pressure to them. I took my fingers and I just applied a little pressure to them. So if you squeeze this ring in as much as you can, squeeze it and hold it a little bit. Squeeze it and hold it a little bit. Do that a couple times. You'll notice that now the space in between those two pieces there is much smaller, and it looks, now these two rings look alike. So now what happens is when you take this guy and this tension ring and you snap it in place, okay, it still fits like it should, still goes into place like it should, but now the tension is not as great. So what this does is that when you go to take this thing when you go to take this thing off the rim, it won't be so tight, so that you can use your suction cup to pull it off. Now, my goal is not to make this so easy to where anybody could just walk up to it and take them, but you know, now of course anybody with a suction cup like this could take them, of course. But I mean, that's a whole nother story. I mean, obviously center caps are, you know, there's not much you can do to secure them other than putting some type of bolt or something to lock them in place. But in this case, Forgiato doesn't have that, so you're kind of still at the mercy of you know, good, honest people, and hopefully they won't take advantage of it. But anyways, okay guys, so I got all 4 of the center caps modified. You'll notice here the clip, the tension ring, it's got a smaller space. A few of these I noticed that they didn't have the plastic clips on the back of the centerpiece. They weren't as tight or as snug as some of the others. So on some of these, when I adjusted the tension ring, I noticed that there was way too much play in between the little plastic clips. So I actually ended up modifying it and kind of stretching it back out again. So you'll notice this one here is not quite as small as this one here, but the other ones, you'll notice they are about as small or a little bit smaller. So that one there is about the same width, and then this one here is about the same width also. But you want to be able to, when you adjust your ring, you want to be able to move it fairly easy in between the plastic clips. You don't want it to be snug to the point to where it has no play in it at all. You want it to have a little bit of play, and you might even notice there may be a small gap in between the tension ring and the actual prongs on the actual center cap. That's okay for at least maybe one of them to have that, as long as you got at least, because there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 prongs. I think as long as you got the tension ring snug up against at least 5 of those 6 to hold this center cap in place and prevent just, you know, someone from easily just walking by and snatching it off, right? Unless of course they have one of these nifty little suction cups. Anyways, so you'll notice here, just looking at that one there, see, you can see it moving around. It's got a little bit of tension. I mean, a little bit of wiggle room there. Same thing with this one, little bit of wiggle room, and then there you go. So guys, that's my video, guys. Short, quick, to the point. I hope that you found this to be helpful to you and beneficial. I know this is definitely gonna save me and my client a lot of heartache and stress trying to get these things off of the car. So hopefully you can use this and it works for you as well. Let me know in the comments if you try this on your wheels. Let me know in the comments if it worked for you, if you saw a difference, and you know, just let me know if you can think of any other creative ways to make this work better. Please drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. That's my video for today. But I appreciate you tuning in again as always. Do me a huge favor. Don't forget to like this video. Hit that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, of course, like I said earlier, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'll see you next time. Thanks again.
MTCB.